Hey yo guys, what's up and welcome back to Toe Tags Meta Reviews, and today we're going to be doing an album review, which is also a check this out episode where I'm going to be giving an album for TV Fish to check out. Today is going to be TV Fish's first time listening to Antichrist by Akercocke.
Who?
Yeah.
What?
I thought you would say that. So, Akercocke is a band that I've known them for quite a while. I've known this band for quite a while. I've listened to them here and there, but recently decided, you know what, I'm going to get into this band. And the reason why is because I was listening to some random stuff on Spotify, and an Akercocke song came on, and I was like, holy shit, this is really good. So I put on some of their albums, listened to like 3 or 4 of their albums, and I was like, whoa, this is a good fucking band. So this band is blackened progressive death metal, okay?
What?
So they got a pretty unique style, and I would describe them as Opeth, but if you like death metal more than prog. So it's like Opeth, but for people that are more into death metal than to prog, which is why I gravitated towards it a lot. So it's got a lot going for it. There's a lot of surprises in there. There's a lot of diversity in it, and I feel like I had to toss it between 2 different albums, and I chose Antichrist because I just feel like it'll give you the best experience to introduce you to this band, Akercocke.
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 Yeah.
I've never heard the name of this band in my life. Like, you know, we've done tons of check this out over the years, right? And there's one band and one album that I keep thinking, oh, I know Vile's gonna choose it for me. I know he's gonna do it. And I've been waiting for it. Still hasn't happened yet. But that was like one of the biggest curveballs I've ever seen. I've never heard of this band. I've never heard of this album. Literally nothing. So, but with that description, like, I'm excited. Like, that sounds awesome. Like Opeth, but with a bit more death metal. Like, I love Opeth, so
Think of Opeth, but with like a black and dying fetus bleeding through.
jeez, that sounds like a crazy mix.
Anyways, guys, we're gonna listen to the album for the entire week, and I mean, this video is gonna be a little weird because by the time we post this was filmed a week ago.
The listening would have already happened by the time you're watching this.
Yeah, so in like a couple seconds, this video is gonna cut, and then we're gonna be back, probably with different shirts on, and we're gonna give you guys a review. So, yeah, stay put, and that'll happen. And what did I tell you? We're back, and it might not feel like it to you guys, but we just spent an entire week listening to this album, and I guess I'll hand the floor to TV Fish. This is a check this out episode for him.
So, I guess as you guys saw at the beginning of this video, my mind was blown as to like, what the heck is this? I've never heard of this. What is going on? Dying fetus meets Opeth, what? And I definitely understand why you said that. I definitely see a lot of, you know, the death metal in this band and a lot of the melodic aspect that you see from Opeth in a similar vein too. Now, the intro track is like this, like, you know, static noise with like this backwards talking or whatever. It's called Antichrist, it makes sense, but I didn't feel like it really hyped up the album as much as I kind of wanted it to be a really great intro track. So more often than not, when I put the album on, I would just kind of skip that intro just because it's like, okay, well, I want to get to the meat and potatoes of the song. Fair enough. And then the next track, I kind of found was a little bit more focused on being just the old school death metal than the melodic stuff. Not to say that it's not there, it is there about halfway through, kind of shows up. But I just found other songs on the album to be better at giving you the whole package than that song. Mm-hmm. Just because it's like, you kind of think more so, okay, this is mainly a just kind of old school death metal sounding kind of thing, and then you hear the rest of the album and it's like, oh, that is absolutely not the case.
Yeah.
So I guess it might be even a double-edged sword there, because you create this subversion, but you also create an expectation. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it kind of goes both ways. But then the track right after that, Axiom, amazing track. I love this song. The fact that it starts with this acoustic riff, but with a blast beat behind it, is such a really interesting contrast that you...
With the clean vocals, too.
Yeah, with clean vocals, it's like a total mishmash of stuff that you rarely ever hear.
Mm-hmm.
But it works. I think it's cool. I think it's really interesting, and I feel like it's got so much to it, and it's only a 5-minute song. Really nice solo as well. Like, definitely one of my favorite tracks over the week. Another small thing I kind of noticed, and this happened in like, I want to say like maybe 2, maybe 3 songs, where the drummer just rips this roll through all this toms from high to low, like Neil Peart style, and I love it. I hear it just like, oh yeah, let's go. It's awesome. It's nothing too complex or anything. It just feels really good to listen to. Now, what was interesting about this album as well, that it actually has a very nice flow. Yeah. I kind of found myself getting lost as to like where I even was. I'd be in an interlude and not even realize it. Yeah. Like, this album has a 2-minute long interlude that does not feel like 2 minutes. It feels like it flows naturally as per the theming of this album as well. It's like this weird voodoo satanic ritual. Tribal ritual, something like that, yeah. Which is really cool as well. I do like that a lot. So I really commend this album for its way to flow. Like, for its way of going through the tracks and making it feel very natural, especially for an album that keeps going back and forth between old school death metal sound and melodic acoustic sound. Like, to flow that well is very impressive. Another song that I really, really love is The Dark Inside. Same kind of thing as Axiom, but it's even crazier. There's a point it does this riff that naturally, first time I heard it, I'm like, whoa, these guys just turned into the Police. What just happened? What the hell? And then this synth starts playing in the background. Like, what the fuck was that? Like, I heard that song for the first time, and I'm just like, what is this? What is happening? Like, I was completely lost and like, okay, I got no idea with this album anymore. So that's pretty much the other favorite song of the album that I kind of found. That and Axiom are like the 2 biggest ones. But then there's also Epode, the ending track. Love this song. I think, especially because the song before it is a little bit more on the death metal side, it's a perfect closer to this dark, evil kind of, I guess, story of an album. I don't know if it's a concept album or not. It might be, who knows. But it's such a nice closer. It's just all acoustic, all clean, very chill, and it's such an awesome like song to close the album with. Every time it came on, I'm like, oh man, this is great. Yeah, you know, it's some type of like letter to Satan. This is a pretty. I don't know if these guys are like an actually satanic band, but there's a lot of Satan-esque themes and stuff in these songs. So yeah, the last song is basically like a letter to Satan, from what I can tell from it. There was also another song, I forgot which one. I didn't make a note of which one. This is just kind of a note in my head where the lyrics say something about the angel's mouth or something, and then right after, fuck the mouth. Yeah, fuck the mouth. Every time that happens, I'm like, yeah, that was awesome. It's funny, but it's awesome at the same time. I can't remember what song that's in either, but I always love that part too. Yeah, I really like that. It's funny because a lot of things you said, I'm looking at my notes here as you're talking, and like it's almost like you're reading my notes. Because like we obviously notice a lot of the same things throughout the week. But The Dark Inside, just to go off that a little more because you already talked about it, I just want to emphasize how good of a song this is. This is one of those songs that almost sounds like it's 4 songs in one, or maybe 5 songs in one, because there's so much stuff going on, and it changes so much, but it still all blends together very well. You got, I don't know why Dying Fetus comes to mind. It's probably more of the vocals, like the vocal style, the guttural style of vocals, but that's kind of how it starts, with this cool groove, something you hear Dying Fetus do, and then it goes to this weird, he said the Police, I say Depeche Mode, whatever you want to call it. It goes to this synth, stuff, clean vocals. Then it starts to get about thrashy. About halfway through, it turns into like almost a thrash song, but still maintaining this death metal style vocal. Then there's a good solo in there. At the end, it gets kind of doomy with this almost beatdown style tempo. It doesn't last long because it goes right back into the thrashy part again, and that just rides out the song. So it's just kind of like, it sounds like it's all over the place. It sounds like it just doesn't make sense, but it does, and that's what makes it a great song. And that's kind of all over the place on this album. That's kind of what this album is in its essence. Yeah, it's just the Axiom and The Dark Inside are like the biggest examples as to like how chaotic the songs really sound for this album, and even just this band. Because I know you told me to check out a few songs from another one of their albums, and I did. Those were phenomenal, and they, give you the same idea. Like, that's what this band is about. Yeah. And I like that a lot. And you mentioned you said the 2-minute interlude, which I'm guessing is number 6, Distant Fires Reflect in the Eyes of Satan. I believe so. It's 2.5 minutes long, but track number 4, The Promise, is also an interlude, and it's 3.5 minutes long.
These don't feel like interludes.
No, it doesn't.
There's also interludes built into songs. If you listen to the second song, Summon the Antichrist, the last 30 to 40 seconds or so of that song is basically an interlude. You can just skip it if you want to, but it's got this weird throat singing kind of thing, but also mixed with some demonic voices. It almost sounds like a possessed person's, like a demon's trying to get out of a possessed person or something like that.
Yeah, I do like that. Like that you have, interludes built into the end of songs that can really create for a good narrative. You also see that and we reviewed that album on this channel actually. I Let It In and It Took Everything by Loathe. You see that a lot on that album as well, and I love that album, so yeah. I like seeing that there, and I like seeing it here too.
Yeah, as for the intro track, I get what you mean, where it's like, it is a skippable track, but on a first listen, like if you're putting this album on for the first time,
it's just like, whoa,
it's mood setting, right? It's got a lot of uncomfortable noise, it's static, it's weird, again, it sounds like a demon trying to communicate through somebody that's possessed.
To me, it was kind of like a not as good version as 515 by Slipknot. I feel like that's song, it kind of has a general similar vibe, even though they're not the same. But I feel like it's a similar vibe. It's uncomfortable. You hear, Sid screaming on that track.
Supposed to be uncomfortable.
And and even then, it I forgot the name, but the first track off of God Hates Us All kind of does the same thing.
What was that called? Darkness of Christ, something like that?
I forgot, but it's the same kind of thing that it's like an uncomfortable kind of sound, and you really kind of get into that mood of like, something's...
It's kind of like, this is what you're in for. But then you listen to the album, and it's like, there's a lot of hard-hitting... I said a lot of death metal vocals. There's some black metal-y kind of vocals on this album too. But then there's a pretty good variety of clean vocals on here.
Yeah.
Like, not just one clean style. There's like 2 or 3 different clean styles. Maybe it's different people, I don't know. But
there's a lot of variety.
It's not all darkness. There's a lot of brightness on this album, and it's just woven in so cleanly and so, I don't know, cleverly.
There's a lot to unpack with this album.
And we could probably talk about it a lot longer, but let's get to ratings. I'll go first. It gets my toe tag. I picked it for a reason. There's lots here, lots of fun stuff, lots of styles for people to enjoy, and I think this album is definitely worth checking out 100%.
Well, as for myself, it was interesting because early on in the week, I was really loving this album, and as it went on, it kind of started to fade on me a little bit. I kind of found myself thinking some songs were like, just not really as super into it as I was. However, the songs that I did enjoy, I still loved. And thinking about this album as a whole, I thought to myself, well, who sounds like this? Who really sounds like this? Nobody sounds like this. And I think this album is still really, really well crafted and has so much to it. I think in my case, I probably just had a little bit of fatigue, and that's okay. It's going to get my toe tag because there's just so much to it. And I think it's a unique sounding album, and there's a lot to it. So I think if you're a fan of so many different things, you'll find something to appreciate about this album.
Very true words spoken by TV Fish. I'm glad to. Toe Tags. This is a great album. Antichrist by Akercocke. You guys, I don't hear anybody ever talking about this band. And
I never heard of them until last week when you said it at the beginning of this video.
And I'm freshly new into them pretty much, other than hearing about them before. But I feel like now that I've listened to them quite a lot over the past couple weeks, that they're criminally underrated, right? These guys got a lot going for them.
They're great.
But anyways, guys, that's it for this review. So leave a comment down below and let us know. Do you even know this band? Do you know this album? If not, I hope you were listening to it. Actually, hope you start listening to it and all that fun stuff. Anyways, guys, subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. I'm Vile Self.
I'm TV Fish.
I'll see you guys on the next video.